Hello everybody and welcome back to another Mount and Blade Bannerlord video. Now many of you will remember a couple of weeks ago, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I uploaded a video on the new Siege gameplay released at E3. I went through a deep analysis of it and it even got posted on the Mount and Blade Bannerlord forums and shared on their Twitter. So that's why it got so much attention and a lot of people were commenting on it, saying stuff that I missed. And yeah, so I thought I rewatched it. I watched some more in-depth analysis by the actual guys at Tailwords Entertainment, and I also read some of the blogs that they posted. One blog came out yesterday on this, and I've gone through and I'm adding some stuff to that video. This is going to be an extra video saying what I missed in the... Oh, I had a bit of a voice crack then. Jesus Christ. What I missed in the first video. So sit back, relax and enjoy this video where I'll be going through the things that I missed in the first gameplay of Mount and Blade Bannerlord. Now quickly, just before I get started, no, this is not the things I made a mistake about. Like, yes, I know there is blood in Mount and Blade Warband. I wasn't really thinking about it at the moment. I think the main reason I forgot about it is because it's mostly a single player thing. You don't really survive enough in multiplayer to get that much blood on you. So, and I don't play too much single player anymore. So I forgot about it then. And the banners, yes, you can turn them off in game. And actually, Tailwords actually tweeted me themselves saying that they just turned them off in the game. So I've been told off by Tailwords that I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, that was another mistake I made. And also, there was a bit about the shouting and the voices. And later on after that, I read a blog where it said that was just a filler in because they haven't completely finished that stuff at the moment. So that was just there to fill in. So we don't need to worry about there being the old shouting and voices and things like that. So let's get into the video. So I'd like to start by telling you guys about the bombardment phase that is new to Mount and Blade Bannerlord. Now many of you will know when you're sieging a castle in Warband. You siege the castle, you can carry on the siege, you can starve them out, or you can build your siege towers and things, and then you can go in and attack them. Now, if you build your siege towers, but you don't fully attack them at the moment, if you build catapults, ballistas, and stuff like that, and you stay on the overland map without actually going into the battle, your siege equipment will attack that city for you. There'll be little animations on the overland map, firing catapults onto the walls, and you'll see the damage on the enemy's walls, and it will injure enemies on the overland map as well, and that can be seen once you get into the battle as well. So if you spend a little bit of a time attacking the walls from the overland map with your siege equipment, once you get into the battle, you will have a bit of an advantage. Now, as we saw at the start of the Siege gameplay video, there is a deployment phase, a bit like Total War actually. So you can place your engineer equipment, you can place your troops, or whatever you want. You can place them wherever you want on the battlefield, ready to attack. And this way you can see which direction you want to come from, depending on the walls and the size of the town you're attacking. So ladders are built by default. But other equipment such as siege towers, battering rams, catapults, you build beforehand on the overland map. And in the blog they mentioned these cost different amounts to make. Obviously, siege towers are a lot more expensive than, say, a catapult maybe. So maybe if you're a newer commander, you're not going to have as many siege towers or any siege towers at all when you're attacking a castle. So you might have to do the whole thing with just ladders. Now that's going to add a lot of diversity to the gameplay of Mount and Blade, where you'll have massive lords attacking you with siege towers, where you just don't have enough resources to do that. Now, in the blog, it mentioned you can have as little or as much control over the siege as you want. And I think that is a really good thing for the player, because people like to play games differently. Some people want to be really in-depth controlled, really strategic about the way their soldiers attack. And sometimes people just want to say, go at it, charge, do what you want, make sure you'll win the battle, but go at it however you want. And Tailwords have made it so the AI will do their own thing and work by instinct. They will go to each of the siege equipment that is there, and they will do what they need to get into that castle. Or if you want more control over it, you can command each separate unit to go to each separate equipment, or they can just all charge like I said before. Now at Tailwords they mentioned a lot of the troop types have been more varied and they're more unique to themselves, and it kind of adds to the immersion. So, as you'll see here, you can see the faces of the men and the equipment and the things that they're wearing are very different to one another. And this kind of adds a uniqueness. They feel like real people in your army. And this kind of just adds more immersion into the game and it makes you feel like you are commanding a real army against the enemies. Now, a cool little mechanic that I saw in the gameplay as I was rewatching it. As you'll see in this catapult, a man gets shot on the left. Now, obviously, this is a catapult. It needs multiple men to man it. And this man has just been shot. But then you'll see another man coming up from the front to take his place. And I think this is really showing off the new AI, where they'll see that that catapult has not as many men as it needs to be as effective as possible. So they bring up another man to take the place of the man that had fallen before him. And I think that is a really cool thing. Tell me what you guys think about the new AI in the game. I think it already looks a ton better than Warband, but we will see when the game fully releases. Now, as we saw in the gameplay, it was something we all wanted: destructible terrain. Now, many of you commented saying, hey, it's just like bits of the wall. There's not much you can see that is being destroyed here. There's not going to be much in it. But I have been reading the blogs. I have been reading all the different things Tailwoods have said. And destroying the parts of the wall and make the Ballista Man more vulnerable, as you can see up there. So that kind of adds more diversity to it, where you can shoot him from the sides now. He doesn't have as much cover. All the siege weapons are in fact destructible. The battlements are also destructible. The gates, like you can see in the video, are destructible. And then I read something that was absolutely amazing. The whole wall can be breached, so you can destroy bits of the whole wall, and then your men can charge over on foot, or cavalry can come in, which I think is really cool, because a lot of you were not expecting that. A lot of you were thinking that maybe, yeah, we can see you can destroy bits of the wall, but it's not really massive destruction. But in this blog, it says you can even make full breaches in the walls, which will add a lot of diversity and more gameplay to Bannerlord. Now, just a quick note, as I was rewatching the gameplay, I noticed some ballistic features that they were showing. Now, as you can see on this point, lots of arrows, lots of bolts are being fired at the castle. But of course, if you're firing arrows, they're not all going to hit. And as you can see here, arrows are bouncing off the walls. And this shows the physics they have added into it. And they have got a lot of gravity weighting down these ballistics. And this is said later on in the Tailworld's overview and analysis of their gameplay. And they said that gravity works more on bows and projectiles now, because defending archers are on high ground, shooting downwards will increase the damage of the projectile, which kind of adds to the simulation, and it makes it a lot more realistic. And I think what Tailwords are trying to do here is, although it's set in a fantasy land of Calradia, it still is 100% realism and true to the era. Now, something I also noticed and was talked about in the Tailwords analysis of their gameplay, when siege towers breach the walls, as you can see here, he's climbing up the siege tower, he gets onto the wall with his men, but you'll see the enemy are reinforcing the breach from the keep. They are sending more men out to tackle the oncoming attackers and try and block that part out so they cannot advance anymore. Now, this shows the more intelligent siege AI, and the more people sent out of the gatehouse, though, the fewer men there is to throw rocks down on through the murder holes. So that means the people attacking the gate on the inside have less chance of getting killed by rocks and stuff being thrown down, like we saw earlier. Now, you'll see here, a lot of you mentioned that they're just battering down the doors. What is even special about that? He goes around the back and he just batters it from the other side. Now, I was like, why can you not open it or something? But I watched the Tailwords analysis, and they did say he could have opened the door. You can actually open the doors like you can in Mount & Blade, but obviously I think they'll have some cooler animations that maybe taking the wooden plank off the hinges. That'll be really cool. And he said he could have opened the door, but obviously that takes up time, and when you're in a siege, you don't have a ton of time to think and react. So he batters it down a little bit, and then he lets his men do the rest of the work. So I thought I might as well add that in, so you know there is a thing opening doors. You don't just have to batter them down, although probably a lot of you might have been able to work that out anyway. Now, adding on to the advanced AI that we saw, as you can see here, the AI is pulling off a tactical retreat. They have seen that they are losing this castle, and as you can see, they're all pulling back into the keep. And it was said that once they pull back into the keep, once you have taken the main castle, there is kind of a secondary kind of bit to the siege where you go and fight in the keep where the AI in the enemy or whoever is defending has their last stand, and they will fight harder than ever, but it's their last stand kind of place to try and keep the castle from the oncoming attackers. And finally, something that I did see at the end of the gameplay, and that was shown, is a kind of, looks kind of like a multiplayer kind of kill screen kind of thing. At the end, you can see how many kills your team got, how many you lost, how many the enemies got, and how many they lost. You can see the individual units, how many kills they got, how effective they were, and how many people were injured and stuff. And this kind of really adds to, hey, these guys aren't really good, maybe you should disband them. Or maybe they need upgrading or new equipment. So that kind of adds to the overland map as well. So you can see what you need to change in your army, how you need to attack the next castle differently, and it really just adds to the whole gameplay mechanics as a whole. So that's going to be the end of the video. I know it was a pretty short video actually, but I thought these were some things that I kind of wanted to add. A lot of people were commenting on the last video saying I'd missed things out and saying they'd seen stuff that I thought were really interesting, and I kind of wanted to go back and redo that other video, but instead of doing and redoing that other video, I decided to make a completely new video instead, and this one was kind of just adding things on to what I said before. And I hope you guys found this interesting. I hope you found out the stuff that you missed out, if there's anything you missed out in the last gameplay. I hope this has kind of described them a bit for you. One thing that I really thought was cool was making 4 breaches in the wall. When I read that, I was completely shocked, and it's going to be pretty cool. So remember to leave a comment. What are your thoughts on this new information I've told you? Is there anything else that you want to see? Because I might be able to find some stuff out for you if possible. I mean, there's obviously things that Tailwords can't tell us yet, but I will try my hardest for you guys. Remember to leave a comment. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video, and subscribe to the channel for more Bannerlord goodness and a lot of gameplay when it's out, and we don't have long left, guys. I know it may be at the end of 2016, but in perspective, this was released announced 3 or 4 years ago. So in perspective, we don't actually have a ton of time before it comes out in at least a playable form. So like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.